Hello students, can you hear me? Am I live? Let me know in the comment section if you can hear me. Thank you for joining us in this short notice. People joining us both offline and online, thank you so much. So UPSC has released its form for 2025. And of course, this form is important because there has been a lot of changes that wasn't anticipated, of course, but it has been done. So there has been a lot of queries with respect to the changes that UPSC has done in this new style of form filling. Correct? So if you can just write down in the chat box what are the concerns probably that you're facing, and even offline students, what's your first take? Pratyusha, if you can tell me. Documents. Sure. So documents is a concern, definitely. And you would also notice this, that this form is now asking you your service preferences, which usually was done after you have cleared your mains. So it's done when you clear your mains. Sir, caste certificate state, okay, ठीक है, caste certificate वाली चीज को भी we will address, but अभी जो सबसे ज़्यादा bone of contention है, that is your service preference. So usually when you used to clear mains, you were asked to fill your service preference and also your hobbies. So of course over the years we had two DAFs, DAF 1 and DAF 2. But now UPSC seems to have done with the idea of DAF 2 and is planning to merge one common, like both the DAFs into one common document. This is what the intention looks like. OTR is one reform that it had introduced in the past. So of course it has continued that. And of course, if you are registering again for 2025, you can of course create a new OTR. That's there. And it has, of course, 979 vacancies. So there is also a trend which we see that services number is kind of declining, but we don't go into this debate. But this is the current vacancies that UPSC has released. Okay, Swami, of course, I get your concern also. Let me address this also. Okay. Then, of course, what changes? So, yeah, so UPSC has released so much, this many vacancies, and of course we were not expecting such kind of reforms. So you all know the case of unfortunate case of Pooja Khedkar and the kind of allegations that were leveled against a prestigious constitution bodies like UPSC. So UPSC, kudos to UPSC, kudos to PT Sudan ma'am. I call this as her era, that she has brought in this reform for absolute transparency with respect to all the allegations that were levied against UPSC, right? So this is a very positive step, and UPSC must be praised for this. Now, of course, these are the details we can talk about, but what has really given pain to aspirants is that now you have to also fill this section. Now, if I can show you probably the earlier situation, earlier you used to have this, okay? So earlier you had DAF 2 prior to this. And in DAF 2, you would see this section, right? The hobbies section, or I call this as 7 ABCD, okay? So this section was very, very important. And they used to ask this after you had cleared your mains. Only then you were allowed to write these details. Now what they have done is they are requesting you to fill this right at the beginning of your form filling. And this is not an easy section at all, because your interview depends on this section heavily, right? So you just cannot fill anything that comes to your mind. Please be very, very attentive. Please have a discussion with mentors, with anybody you want, but discuss this once and then fill this section. Again, I'll come to, when I'll be explaining you the nuances of these details, I'll come how you should be filling this section also. But this is what used to happen early. Okay, they have changed this trend completely, and now you're expected to do this initially. That's one big change. Another change, which is very, very important, is this part, right? This is services. So of course, we all want to become IAS. That's our aim, but there are 22 in this form and 23 services in the current form. You all know Group A, Group B services, and the order you pick is super important because it is where your lifestyle depends. Your life is going to change once you are allotted any of these services, and you are there for life, right? You know the difficulty level of this exam, you know how unpredictable it is. So if you get an interview call, you do your best to get into your desired services, right? Otherwise, life is probably very unfair and you might not be getting another chance, right? So this also you need to fill in the very beginning. Now imagine the students who used to qualify mains, their number was what, 3,000, 3,200, something like that. And of course, then 1,000 seats among them used to get filled. Now, initially 5-7 lakh people who will fill the form, they need to decide on these services. And they need to decide on the hobbies also. So it's not an easy task at all. Please do not write anything that comes to your mind because you won't be able to change it. And your entire interview, your entire life, everything depends on this form only, right? So be very, very cautious in filling these two sections. Rest, caste certificate and these things, these are very normal things, right? You can obviously do that. Anybody can help you there. But specifically these two areas is what I am conducting this session for, because I believe the stakes are higher, numbers is very, very high, right? And I don't want you to make the blunder while beginning only, okay? So coming back to our original form, this one, okay? So let me start with services itself because this is where student really don't know about the other services. Of course, you might be knowing about your favorite ones. Somebody want to become IPS, somebody want to become IAS. Indian Foreign Services, of course, the craze after Dr. Jaishankar sir has gone really, really high. And with all, of course, he deserves that. And the glamour of Indian Foreign Services is also increasing. So people know this. Yes, Kumaran, same number of posts, correct. But this is what does not matter because these are not important things. What is important is this service filling that you have to do initially. And we don't know about 23 services, right? We really don't know about. So if I ask you about probably what does Indian Information Services do, you will give me a very vague answer. And your knowledge of Indian Information Services versus the actual job of Indian Information Services, it's expectations versus reality check, right? You probably don't know about such good services and you tend to fill them probably very low. Times have changed, right? They are retired bureaucrats, they are retired officers. Again, all due respect to them. They have been great people, but times have really changed. We are not living in their era anymore. So probably the relevance of trade service, corporate law service, information service in their times versus the times we live in, the social media times, it's very, very different, right? The world is changing, Generation Z is arriving, work-life balances, the definition of work-life balances is completely changing. You know the sexist statement made by L&T chief, 90 hours work. What will you do? While going home, you'll stare your wife, right? Such kind of sexist statement. And of course, he has been facing considerable backlash because this is not a generation that will take this, right? They prefer work-life balance also. So which services will give you that, right? You have to know each and everything in great detail. And that's why this is important, right? Hobby कौन सी डालनी चाहिए, उसी पे संकेत, उसी पे we'll be talking about. Just stay patient for some time. We'll come after service filling, we'll come to hobbies, and then we'll come to the general details, and we'll also guide you one to one. Do not worry. But it's a video open for public because not everybody can come to us, of course. So people who cannot come to us, they can at least know and fill their DAF right or fill this form right. This is what my and Civilsdaily's intentions are. Okay. So of course, your first, and I'll give you another order also. So it's not that follow this one order only. I'll give you alternatives also. If not this order, what you can fill instead of probably first order. Okay. So I'll give you the alternative as well. Okay. Right. Now, Indian Administrative Services, of course, is your favorite one. This is what I assume. And so this is not what you need to fill. This is just a sample number. Okay. So do not follow these numbers. Yeah. Okay. So your first order of preference, of course, these are your top three. It can vary. It can vary according to your preferences, right? But when you talk about, so there are a lot of people who are inspired to take IPS because they see glamour in IPS, or probably there is a cult of movies, Gangajal, Singham, etc., that have given them a certain impression of the police force, right? But the reality is very, very different. So until and unless you are absolutely passionate about the law and order, you know your job. I have decided not to prefer IPS, so please IPS को लो ऑर्डर प्रेफरेंस में रखते हुए कुछ बता दीजिए. गीतांश, मैं आपको यही बताऊंगा कि क्यों उसको लो ऑर्डर में नहीं रखना है और कैसे आप इसको स्ट्रेटेजिकली रखकर भी आप IPS आपको नहीं मिलेगा. सो देखो, बिग फोर की एक रिस्पेक्ट होती है. Indian Administrative Services, Indian Foreign Services, Indian Police Services, Indian Revenue Services. They have earned a name. These people, these bureaucrats have earned a name for their services across years. They have a legacy to carry, right? So do not really disrespect these services by putting it at 10, 9, 11, 12 just because you believe that you are not fit for that. You will eventually not get it. If you get a lower rank, you will eventually not get those services, right? So do not worry about really putting it very, very below. You can put it at 5, you can put it at 4, you will not get it. So if you don't want IPS, you can put it at 4, you can put it at 5, you won't get it, right? But don't disrespect it by putting it at 10, 8, 9, 12 because I don't want it. No, you will eventually not get it. Okay, that way. So be very, very respectful about putting these services. Okay. So, of course, these big three can vary. So my point was that do not fall for the glamour coming from IPS, from the movies, for the IPS from the movies. You have to be absolutely passionate about law and order, on police deployment, right? So incidents like Sambhal, right? Incidents like Mahakumbh, the management, police managing such events, that should motivate you. You should know that when you will be on ground dealing with Mahakumbh, as big as an event of Mahakumbh, or probably a communally sensitive situation like Sambhal, and you will be there handling the law and order. You will be deploying your men or women out there. This is what should inspire you. If you're really passionate about that, only then you will be able to do justice. It's not about glamour. It's a responsibility of entire district, law and order, right? So you have to justify this in the interview also. It's just not that you fill this here and you will not be asked about this. It's not like that. You will have to justify each and everything in the interview as well. Okay, so your first three order has to be, of course, depending on how passionate you are for foreign administrative or police services. Usually IAS, IPS, IFS, IAS, IFS, IPS is what people put. Now, with respect to income tax, so there are two actually notions. So IRS IT and there is IRS Customs, right? 16 and 17, IRS IT and IRS Custom. So there was a point of time when people from IRS IT used to have a lot of significant power on ground. So we called bureaucrats powerful, or probably the responsibility comes to them when they interact with officers or people, or they do work on ground. So income tax over the years have become faceless, right? The entire idea of dealing with people on ground has reduced considerably. The power structure, the kind of responsibilities and power they used to enjoy offline, dealing with people. Of course, if you are in ED or if you're doing raids, of course, such kind of possibilities are still there, but it has reduced down significantly. Faceless, nameless, you all know the income tax returns these days, right? So you don't really interact with the common masses as it used to be, right? So for that reason, people are putting customs at 4 and revenue at 5. Earlier it did not used to happen, but it's happening अब से, ठीक है, कुछ सालों से, since GST, of course, you know the drill. It has been faceless and nameless. That is why the entire structure has been changed. So it's advisable to put customs above, because customs you have to interact with people, of course. You will show your faces while crossing borders, immigration. So you really cannot escape people in customs until unless we find a way, we use AI and we probably become very clever with immigration, everything. But it has significant power now because you're dealing with people offline. So that's very important. Whenever you deal with people offline, whenever you deal with public, janta, you will have power. And with power comes what? Responsibility, right? So we are not here just to enjoy our power. We are also here to be responsible towards our country, towards our service, right? It's our job. Okay, so that is also important. Then, of course, you can pick audit accounts at 6. Now, if you can tell me, what does audit accounts do? If you have any idea with respect to audit accounts, okay, use brighter pen than blue. Can I use black? I think I should be using black then, huh? Okay, noted, Mohan. I'll be using black. Yes, there's a visibility concern. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 are your top 3. Then I have said you can keep IRS customs at 4 and IT at 5. Okay, and you can obviously do this. Now, can you tell me, what does audit accounts do? I plan to keep it at 6. Have you heard of CAG? Have you read of CAG? Come on, guys, you're preparing for prelims. You must have read about. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Right? So, audit accounts, you are auditing, right? And auditing is different from managing accounts. You're just not managing the accounts, but what you are doing is you are auditing the accounts, right? And you're working directly under CAG. You don't get to become CAG, of course. You can become deputy CAG and like the second most important person. IAS only become CAG, but you have a significant power because you are auditing. What you are auditing? You are auditing accounts of union and state governments, and that too independent auditing. Correct? So that's a great job. That's a great job to ensure financial transparency, accountability, right? So, and you're working hand in hand with CAG. It is directly in the ministry. It's a desk job and a very powerful desk job, right? You obviously get to visit fields as well, but it's a very powerful desk job. So it's advisable to put it at 6, but still you might be confused because IRS IT has gone down to such a significant low in terms of responsibilities and power. People are also putting it at 5, but I will advise you to put it at 6. As I said, give some due respect to the top 4, the big 4. They have earned this reputation over the years by serving this country to a great extent. Indian administrative services officers, police officers, diplomats, revenue officers, they have served wholeheartedly. A lot of them have served. Of course, you might count incidences of corruptions and everything, but there were some genuinely good officers who were the backbone of this country. That is why the system is thriving. The system thrives because they were honest, genuine officers, right? So for them, for that respect, we must do that. So at 6, I'll keep Indian Audit Accounts Services, right? Absolutely, Akash, check and balance of government department and PSU, and that too independently, right? So that's red would be good on whiteboard. Okay, let me see if I have. Sure. Now I have done red Geetansh. I hope this should work. Okay. So yeah, coming back to that, coming back from that, what will I put next is, I would give importance to the railway services. Now, of course, with respect to railway, government itself has been changing its stance over the years, right? Initially, this was the structure. Railway was divided into 4 parts, right? Accounts, personnel, traffic, protection force. This was the original status. And of course, the recruitment happened through engineering services also. Then they decided to omit each and everything out and club it into IRMS and go back to and give everything to engineering system again, engineering services again. Now they have again shifted their stance and they have come back to the original services. So government itself do not have a lot of clarity inside railways how to really manage such huge stuff, and railway is a force that is moving towards modernization, right? The future of modernization depends heavily on the railways. Railway is the lifeline of people, right? We really cannot privatize it also completely because we really have people who are on the lowest denominator and they need some assistance, some invisible hand coming from the government so that they can actually utilize this speed and force and communication, use this for commuting, right? So railways, within railways, I will put or I'll give value to account services first. I'll keep it at 7. I'll keep it at 7 simply because accounts job, as you all know, will have some amount of expertise with respect to handling accounts. You will be in charge of revenues and you'll be in a very significant position within the railways, right? So I'll keep Indian Railways Management Services accounts at 7. Then probably I'll go for personnel. I'll go for personnel because that is where you are basically doing a kind of HR job. You're managing the manpower, the real backbone of railways, right? And yeah, it matters. It matters the most because railways will give you this opportunity. Railway is the biggest employer. It has a lot of people employed, right? So personnel is what I'll keep it at 8. Then I'll go for traffic, right? Because it's important. There's a lot of modernization of tracks. There's a lot of improvement, lot of technology that is going to come in here, and traffic will be my 9th choice. So I will put my 7, 8, 9 to, or I'll give it to the railways, right? That's very important because the lifestyle of railways is good. They have guest houses everywhere. You have considerable power. People also recognize you much better. They give you more respect when you work in railways because everybody knows the power and influence, and everybody would be needing you for various kind of assistance, right? So I'll keep 7, 8, 9 to the railways. Within that, I'll give accounts priority. Then I'll keep personnel. Then I'll keep traffic, right? Simply because internally I know the powers and responsibilities, they tilt like this, right? Then I will probably pick up defense estate service. Now a lot of people won't agree with me here on 10 because they would say that cantonments are dying. So defense estate, of course, are kind of mini DMs of cant areas. Okay, cant areas are your most progressive areas of any city, Agra can't, Delhi can't, Varanasi can't. It will shine differently from normal areas. Why is that? Because roads will be cleaner, there will be greenery, you will have an easy access to canteens. So logistically, that would sound much, much better. But I don't know, a lot of people think that government is planning to shut down cant areas. There has been significant reports on that. But I believe it's not the areas that have made army people special or defense people special. It's the defense people who have made the area. So wherever you relocate defense people, they will bring in the cleanliness, they will bring in the discipline, they will bring in the routine, whatever their qualities are. So of course you will of course rehabilitate them somewhere if you shut down cant areas, right? And somebody will manage that. So eventually the service will become like that. But government has of course separated out ordinance out of that. Government is planning to shut down cant areas. These are valid concerns, but I don't know how long it will take to implement. Probably you will be completing your services by then if it implements. So it gives you a very good work-life balance. Wonderful work-life balance, defense estate services. Imagine I'm living in a cant area, my kids growing up in cant area with army locality. And that's the best upbringing I would want for my child, right? So I will, for work-life balance, and of course the power that it holds as of today, I will rate cant areas or defense estate services on 10, right? Then I will put up probably defense account services, because so if the defense estate is kind of a DM of that area, defense accounts person would be your IRS kind of person who would be would be responsible for looking after the accounts, right? But defense account services, the good part also is that they'll be probably working more with defense ministry, right? So here people would say that civil accounts is better. Sure, civil accounts gives you option of various ministries, but those ministries can range from Ministry of Finance to Ministry of Jal Shakti, right? So if you pick up Indian civil accounts at 11 probably, you might land up at Jal Shakti, you might land up at Finance. Are these two ministries equal? No. So if you are not IAS, people know you by your ministry, right? If you are not IPS, if you are not IFS, if you are not IRS, people know you by ministry. Okay, in which mantralaya are you working? And that mantralaya defines your job then. You can be a very low ranking officer in home ministry, but people will perceive you powerful because you're working in home ministry or external affairs ministry. You can be a very high ranking official in Jal Shakti ministry, but people will say, ठीक है, Jal Shakti में तो जाता है. Difference है ना? तो थोड़ा सा वो भी है, और आपको भी एक satisfaction होती है. You're going to defense ministry every day, or you're working closely with defense people, right? You're managing their accounts. You're also visiting the cant areas. You enjoy the perks of cant areas as well. So canteen vagera, you know the perks, right? So defense accounts also I'll prefer over civil accounts, simply because I get to do my job in defense ministry and I interact with defense people who are very good in terms of attitude, who are very good in terms of dealing compared to civilians. But no doubt civil accounts is a very good ministry. If you can really land up in Ministry of Finance, and you will be managing the accounts of various ministries, right? So civil accounts, I'll keep it at 12. Now there are 3 services that I will leave up to you, up to your aptitude. I'll just tell them the benefits of those services, which probably people don't know, and I leave it to you guys to decide where is your aptitude more suited for. So one of them is your trade services, then corporate law services. So if I keep trade at 14, corporate law at 15, and Indian Information Service, if I keep it at 16. Okay. Now, why I have left this to your wisdom is, you can of course interchange this 13, 14, 15 according to your aptitude. So trade service, people don't know much about it. They think that oh, what's big deal? There is no training ground also, very limited time you spend in IIFT and you directly start in the ministry. But people don't know that trade ministry. So there are various level of diplomacy the country does. Track 1 diplomacy, track 2 diplomacy. Your IFS officers are your face of track 1 diplomacy, no doubt about it. Prime Minister visit will happen, External Affairs Ministry will visit, IFS officers will be right there helping them out. They're the faces of track 1 diplomacy. But what about track 2 diplomacy? So any visit of Prime Minister would do what? You would sign a lot of deals. So if India visits the US, Becca, Comcasa, defense deals, and they are worth millions of dollars, right? Apache, Chinook. We do that, right? If our Prime Minister goes to Russia, deals, trade deals, right? You all know WTO's importance with respect to subsidies, right? So when that deal goes down, IFS ministers, prime ministers have done the deal, but the paperwork goes to trade officers at down because trade deals is something they do. They specialize on. So they will also advise the officers, IFS officers, or probably the ministries to become pro India in terms of trade or to reduce our trade deficit, right? So they will give their expert inputs. You can lead a delegation to WTO. So you can really have that maroon passport and go to WTO and you can become a part of delegation. So it's just not the IFS officers who get to represent India, but also the trade officers, which people probably don't know, right? Corporate law services. Each and every MNC or big house you see has to do what? Corporate social responsibility, CSR. Who does that for them? Who defines their CSR activities and the compliance with respect to the company laws? They are the officers. And you're dealing with these people. You're ensuring that government company laws are followed, right, on government's behalf. And you're dealing with a very elite group of lawyers. So elite group of lawyers are which lawyers? NLU people, right? Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas, Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas. These are very big law firms, right? And you're dealing with these people. So you have a very good elite network, very knowledgeable network of lawyers, right? Infrastructure probably would not have, like you won't get big infrastructure like railways or defense. But if you are passionate about how companies work, what are companies' law, and the CSR activities, yeah, you have a very good chance. And if you have a legal background, why not? Right? So CSR, corporate law services. Information service, people, of course, there was one point of time when only Doordarshan, Prasar Bharati, that was the era. But today, it's not like that. It's not, the media has moved over television media as well. It has gone to social media, right? So these people are managing the public relations of a lot of ministries, right? Every ministry, every important minister, probably anybody from government who is in public life has to maintain a Twitter, has to maintain an Instagram, has to maintain a YouTube. There is a lot of ads that government run, COVID and to just spread awareness, right? You are the ones behind everything. You are giving licenses to journalists. So journalists are powerful because you are giving them the license to be powerful. Journalists are powerful because they have PIB cards. You are issuing them the PIB cards. So if a Aaj Tak reporter can come and start interviewing me immediately without any fear because he has the permission of PIB to do that, he'll get that card and say, I'm a journalist. I'll be here. Who is issuing them these cards? IAS officers. So probably in 1990s, this service was nothing. But in 2025, I see a great scope. Social media regulation, if comes, government is fighting hard for that. These officers will be there, right? So, all due respect to big officers suggesting DAFs, retired secretaries, very humbly, I want to say to them, your times have changed. Please recognize the current times, the current generation needs, and that's how you amend these services. Okay, so I'll, according to your aptitude of corporate trade and information, you can swap the 14, 15, 16 number. Okay, then I will put probably IP TAFs, Indian Postal and Telecommunication Accounts Finance Group. Okay, why? Because they have the financial power to manage not only the post offices but also the existing network of BSNL and MTNL that government has already made. Now someday we will be using that infrastructure, right? Someday we will be, probably government if decides to bring its own internet to fight. You never know, Jio Airtel can actually harm us someday, and government decides to bring its own network again to reduce the competition or probably to give space to the poorers. Then obviously these officers will be very, very powerful. And what will we do of the existing network that we have built of MTNL, BSNL and such companies? We'll do something from them, right? The post office's fiscal management, their fund allocation, it's a desk job. Of course, it's a desk job. But the management skills are higher than probably the postal services. Postal services is something I'll keep at 18 in that case. Where is postal service? Yeah, I'll keep this at 18. Okay. Why? Because postal services, Indian postal services have majorly the postmen, dakiyas who could not adopt their technology. We have huge force of them. There's a huge manpower of postmen. Now their times, of course, probably if we have to compete with e-commerce giants, we'll use them. That's a vision, that's probably the modernization that we will do. But currently they're serving passports and Ganga Jal, not more than that. They're just delivering your passports and Ganga Jal, right? So you're managing a workforce of postmen who cannot go to technology, right? So it's a it is a field work. Of course, you get to suggest a lot of reforms, but you know, if you go to any post offices in old Rajendra Nagar, Karol Bagh nearby, you can see the state these offices are in, right? The infrastructure is not being updated, right? The chief postmaster officer office is here, right? Like 10 meters or 100 meters away on this road only, Shankar Road only. You go and visit that building, that's the highest post the person can reach in the services. And you look at his office and you compare that to probably DGP of a state in police or, chief secretary. Huge difference, right? So Indian Postal Services is what? I'll keep it at 18. Yeah. Then the last, DANIPS, Pondips, AFHQ, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Simply because they are Group B services. Please understand, Group B service will never have the same respect as Group A services. No matter even that is postal, no matter even that is information. Group B will always remain Group B. You will never have central government's perk. Group A officers perk, you will not have that, right? DANIPS is nothing but state PCS of UTs. So if you clear UP PCS, Rajasthan PCS, you will probably be promoted to IAS quickly than DANIPS. Because the promotion, of course, promotion in state is of course much, much better than center. Okay, so they are state PCS of UTs. If I am appearing for civil services exam, Group A exam, I will not want to become Danix Danibs, Pondix Pondips. For that reason, I'm not giving civil services exam. Sorry, I will choose a state PCS then. Right? I'll have a better life and better satisfaction, because here I'm being commanded by the same person who has cleared the same exam. And just because I've kept this above as my preference because somebody told me that you will be in Delhi only, I don't deserve to be commanded by the same person who has cleared the same exam. I will have an ego issue hearing his command, right? So state PCS officers know that their potential probably wasn't that high to clear UPSC, and they are satisfied with whatever they have achieved in life, and they're happy to take commands from UPSC officers because they know they have worked more harder than them, right? So it's simply because of that. So Danix Danibs 1920, Pondix Pondips 2122, and AFHQ is complete clerk job at 22. Yes, Madhuri, I understand this is very, very tough for reservation candidates also. We'll be providing with a solution for that, don't worry. But this is super important, right? Caste certificates, roll number proof, these things are not big issues. We can sort this out any day. Anybody can sort this for you, right? Call anyone, call your senior bhaiyas also, they'll sort this out for you. But this is something, I have seen 1,000 DAFs over the years. I have ensured that thousands of students have filled their interview DAFs. I've been heading this program for 3 years here. I know the relevance of these services, the hobbies, and how your interview is going to be affected, right? So this is important. I hope there is super clarity on these services. I have given you an alternative also. So trade, corporate law, information service, you can swap according to your preference. Civil accounts, defense accounts, you can swap. If you don't want to live entirely in defense ministry, you want to experience various ministries, you can keep civil accounts above. No worries, right? Audit accounts, if you feel that it gives you more flexibility or more power, you want to live in Delhi itself, you can put it above than income tax at 4, right? But do not keep big fours lower than 5 at any cost. ASPS, FSRS has to be in your top 5, even if you don't want to become there, even if you don't want to pick up those services, they have to be in your top 5. Any doubts here so far? Madhuri, yes, follow the sequence I have told you. It's very good then, right? And you can obviously I have also given you an alternative, right? I've told you how you can change the ascents also depending on your aptitude. Do you have any doubts so far? Online students? Railway Protection Force, yes. I'm sorry, I missed Railway Protection Force. Railway Protection Force after your Indian Postal Services. So Indian Postal Services will be probably 18 and 19 will be Railway Protection Force. Last of Group A will be Railway Protection Force. I'm sorry, I missed that. Last of Group A will be Railway Protection Force. Railway Protection Force are nothing, but they are kind of, so it's a uniformed services one, of course. If you have traveled in trains, you might have seen the RPF officers. So if you're passionate about uniform, very, very passionate about uniform, I don't know how low you can go, but if you are, then you surely can think, but IPS is of course way, 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 way better any day. Okay, so, and other services also, if you can compromise your passion on uniform, you can obviously pick them above. But if you really want worthy, then sure, you can put this at last as Group A. So in your last Group A service, below Postal Service, you can keep Indian Railway Protection Force, right? So personal, it's not personal. Personal is very different from protection, right? Personal will go in top 7, 8. Okay. So accounts, personnel, traffic, and this one, railway protection, will go at the end of Group A. Okay. Then Danix, Danibs, Pondix, Pondips, AFHQ. Okay. Sir, it's good to put IPS on 4th after seeing its reputation as Big 3 service. I don't want to be an IPS. Absolutely correct, Gitansh. Put IPS at 4, you won't be getting IPS at 4. If you put IRS customs above, even at 300, you will get IRS. You won't get IPS then. But don't disrespect IPS by putting it at 10 or 8 or 9. You should not do that for big services. They have earned a reputation. Come on, guys. Police forces have been our backbone. We should respect them. Right? Any more doubts? Madhuri, I've cleared. Sir, why do we have to fill mains form while form filling? That's the change, Munna Mahato. That's the change that UPSC has brought in this time. They want you. So that's one, they have done this for transparency. They had a lot of difficulties. They had a lot of allegations which they don't deserve. A prestigious constitution body like UPSC don't deserve such allegations. So just to set the record straight, I call this as PT Sudan's ma'am era. She has been very transparent right from the interview results. She is very, very transparent. I'm very confident that she'll bring in a lot of positive changes and all the allegations won't hold any value now. Right? Sir, I passed graduation in 2021 but did not collect certificate as of now. Yes, Ranvijay, you can upload the mark sheet. When you get selected, of course, then you will be requiring that. Sir, my friends say that they don't appear this year due to form filling process and the server issue. Many times the form filling process come at the end point, but due to server, no, Madhuri, that's not a right reason for not filling up the form. You have to, just because the server is not working, please pick up any area where server is working. You don't skip UPSC just because internet is not working. Come on, right? So I have to explain hobbies also, guys. It's not over. It's not over. So don't be relaxed. Hobbies are very, very important. Okay. Any more doubts? I want to take serious doubts only, please. Right? Okay, great. So I go to hobbies. Do not neglect this portion at all. At all. Because your interview, I call this as 7A, 7B, 7C, and 7D. This is your interview. Okay? Okay. So 7A is your prize, medal, scholarships, etc. One, always remember they have asked you to put in the order of university, state, national. Okay. So this column, don't put school here. So if you were class topper of your school, of like probably you topped an NTSC exam in 8th class, no, not here. Okay. If you have played Ranji cricket at school, IPL at school, international sports, national sports at school, sure, you can. University, if you have achieved anything, you can. So it's always good. So what clever people do, if you have cleared any examination also, specifically UPSC exam before, so a lot of people improve their ranks, NET JRF, DULLB, CLAT, any national state level exams, or you received an IIT scholarship, right? University scholarship, it's good to put this here in 7A. Now, the idea is you also have to be very, very crisp. Gitansh, yes, AFHQ would be the last, 23. Okay. So the idea of 7A is you have to be very, very crisp while putting this. You cannot write a long paragraph. You have to write within few words. So these are the areas where themes also come. So if you are mentioning, say, if you are mentioning, say you were awarded by MHRD, right? So if you say that you received a prize by MHRD, then questions on human resource development will be asked from you. Questions on education, health. So this area we fill to identify themes for the interview. Okay, your panelists, board members will be asking questions on these themes and not the topic. So they won't ask you, oh great, you have received certificate by MHRD, how did you feel? No, not such questions. But hey, what is your status, what is the status of health and education in your country, in your state? That's the question. Okay, so always fill this form for identifying or giving the interview panelist a theme. Super important, right? A theme, very, very important. Okay, do not neglect this theme. If you are a working professional and you have managed to do something great at your work, if you are appreciated by your boss, your manager, for bringing certain kind of incentives or bringing important clients or projects to your company, you have to write this, because there is an etc. also that we miss. Prizes, medals, scholarship, etc. Prizes are just not your trophies and certificates, but also the appreciation. Correct? So this is also what you need to keep in mind. That is why I'm saying do not rush. Take 2-3 days. Delhi center won't be closed. You will get Delhi. Okay, or you will get your desired center. But if you miss, or if you don't even get your desired center, please go a bit far. But if you mess this up, then your entire life will be messed up. Right? So it's very, very important for you to consult us, consult me, our very credible mentors offline. Right? Sumit sir, Arvind sir, everybody is here to guide you. But do not fill this without our guidance or any credible institute's mentor guidance. But do not go on your own. Okay? That's very important. For somebody already in the state PCS in a good rate services, lower than IAS better. Ananya, no. Indian Audit and Accounts is better than state services lower ranked. If you are SDM or DSP in the state services, you probably have to reevaluate how well you are doing in your job, how satisfied you are with respect to public dealings, but only in that case. Otherwise, IAAS, Audit and Accounts, is way, way better than a Naib Tehsildar or Lekhpal or BDO and etc. Okay. As a normal college going student, I have not awarded with prizes or medal, but have done various certificate course and internships in NGO. What would be the way to go in this situation? Gitansh, I'll be telling you where to put this up, don't worry. शिखा, 1 मिनट कास्ट सर्टिफिकेट छोड़ देते हैं यार, पहले हॉबीज वाला ये वाला पोर्शन कर लो. कास्ट सर्टिफिकेट हो जाएगा, बड़ा इशू नहीं है. कास्ट सर्टिफिकेट, रोल नंबर बड़ा इशू नहीं है. आपका ये जो है ना, ये मिस कर दोगे तो फिर सब चला जाएगा जीवन में, फिर कोई कास्ट सर्टिफिकेट काम नहीं आएगा. कास्ट सर्टिफिकेट बता देंगे आपको, टेंशन मत लो, कोई भी बता देगा. यहां आए हो तो इस पे ध्यान दो. सर क्वालिफाइंग कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम लाइक दिल्ली पुलिस मेंशन कर सकते हैं? यस दीक्षा, यू कैन मेंशन दैट. इट्स व्हाट, it's a probably national or state level exam, I'm assuming. So why not? Please mention this. Okay. College scholarships, Madhuri, yes, you can mention your college scholarship, but not naming your college, but university. So if you're a part of Delhi University, mention the scholarship provided by Delhi University and not probably Miranda House. Okay. What if we don't have anything in CA? That is impossible. If you don't have anything in CA, like 7A, Mohan, then of course you have to, one, you have to talk to either me or and other mentors and probably tell your story since schooling days, and we can identify something which you feel that it's not worth putting. It's not like that. You always have a lot of things to say. We probably don't say it because we feel that कैसा लगेगा हमारे डैफ पे, बेइज्जती हो जाएगी सर, रिप्लाई कैसे करूंगा. ऐसा कभी नहीं हो सकता कि आपने कुछ नहीं किया हो, और नहीं किया हो दैट केस में तो हम 7A छोड़ देंगे खाली, बिग डील. ठीक है. Sir, I have no certificates as of such from school, college, neither in any sport to support. How do I move ahead in this case? See, ऐसा ठीक है, अगर नहीं है तो हम ऑनेस्टली लिख देंगे, उस सेक्शन में कुछ नहीं लिखेंगे आशुतोष, बट अगर है तो हमें लिखना पड़ेगा. ओके, हाउ मेनी टाइम्स शुड देयर बी things in each section of medal? Multiple things like drama, quiz, painting. Best team award in company. Yes, Abhijit, best team award can be mentioned. Sociomanic. Okay, I'll tell you how many pointers to write, so don't worry about that also. So 7A, as I said, don't avoid this etc. Okay, you can always use your company's appreciation also, and be very crisp. Be very crisp. Do not, if you are from IIT, do not show off IIT everywhere. It's understood in your DAP that you are from IIT, you are from prestigious colleges, tier 1 top colleges. So don't write IIT, I am everywhere. It's okay. Okay. So don't show off, be very crisp, and identify themes on the basis of which you want a question to come. If you have built a project on semiconductor, you can, as an engineer, write that down so that a theme of semiconductor can be opened up. Right? So you have to be very, if you have won a debate competition for that matter, and if you feel that topic was Gandhi or Ambedkar and you want a conversation on that to happen, you're giving them a very good theme. And you know you'll nail that. Go ahead, write it down. Write the topic also. But you have to be very creative in giving them the theme. Otherwise, how would the question come? Correct? This is important. Now, sports, NCC, etc. Always give value to this etc. also. Sports does not, NCC does not mean you cannot write NSS. There is something known as NSS also. There is Bharat Scout Guide also. Okay. There are plenty of similar things that you can write. But if you have played sport only on the university, state and national level, only then write. If you were doing NCC in your college, go ahead, write it down. Okay, because questions will come on National Cadet Corps. You need to know. If there is any reforms these services need, you should be having an idea in your interview and answer that. Okay, I have doubt and reservations, sir. My mother is Group B officer. My father is Group C officer. If I apply in BC or general, मेरे को reservation मिलेगा, sir. ठीक है. सबको reservation और caste certificate की क्यों चिंता हो रही है? Please can we focus on 7 ABCD and services, क्योंकि वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. ये तो हम आपको कॉल पे समझा देंगे 2 मिनट में, और ये पर्सनल डिटेल सबकी बता के कोई फायदा भी नहीं है पब्लिक में, है ना. सो ये हम इंडिविजुअल बेसिस पे कर लेंगे, बट अभी लेट्स फोकस ऑन 7 ABCD एंड प्रोबेबली द सर्विसेज. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. बाकी तो हम है ही ना कॉल पे बताने के लिए आपको सर्टिफिकेट्स के बारे में. ठीक है. With respect to 7C, now this is a good opportunity where you can write about your school. Finally, they have respected your sentiments of putting things in school. ऐसा होता है, हम स्कूल में बहुत अच्छे होते हैं. जैसे मैं स्कूल में बहुत ही अच्छा था, कॉलेज में मैंने कुछ भी नहीं किया. स्कूल में बहुत झंडे गाड़ लिए, हेड बॉय भी बन गए, पता नहीं क्या क्या कर लिया, और कॉलेज में कुछ नहीं है दिखाने के लिए. यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन कर रहे थे. राइट. सो यू हैव एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू पुट योर अचीवमेंट्स ऑफ स्कूल ऑल्सो हेयर. अब लेकिन ये नहीं क्लास मॉनिटर लिख दो, सर क्लास मॉनिटर इन क्लास 8. नो. इफ यू वर पार्ट ऑफ स्टूडेंट काउंसिल, if you were head boy, head girl, president student council, such kind of influential positions if you have held, if you have started a society in your school, right? Position of distinction leadership. They want to know whether you had the capability of being a leader since school or not, right? So if you had the capability, or if you displayed leadership qualities in school, only then you should be writing this. So head boy, part of student council, led the debate society, such things. I have NCC certificate, but I have done that in school. Gitansh, write that down, no worries. NCC is appreciated even of school, but you can write, Gitansh, NCC of school, you can write. You just write NCC. Okay, it's understood, right? Then in 7C, as I said, it's a good idea. It's a very good idea for you to show your achievements of school, leadership especially. School and of course college. If you are a secretary of mess society, go ahead, write it down. Right? If you started some club, something in your school, college, write it down. Okay? No worries about that. Right? So use this option very well to also write on 7C. You don't have a certificate of one competition, I lost it, what to do? You can write as second prize. If you were a runner up, or if you didn't win that competition, but if you came second or third, you can obviously put that up, right? But it's good now because UPSC now is asking proofs also from you, right? So of course 7 ABC, whatever you write now, it's very, very good if you back them up with certain certificates. If you don't back them up with certain certificates, then we can safely avoid writing that, right? But UPSC is being very transparent this year, and we need to give UPSC where the due is, right? And it's a commendable step. Now you really cannot fake anything. And you won't believe people used to fake in this section. And obviously, we as coaching institutes were also at fault. I'm not saying that we were not at fault. We also used to encourage them to lie, just to get, so that they can they can get good marks in interview. But UPSC, of course, has changed the game for every one of us. I always used to say, be very honest. I never encourage lying, even to the interview student that I have with me. But when I say about coaching institutes, I talk about the industry altogether. But I can vouch for myself that I've been very honest, asking the students to put this very honestly. Since day one, Civilsdaily has been doing that. Okay. So 7D is where your hobbies section come in. Okay. Now this is interesting. How to arrange hobbies section. So hobbies is very, very interesting because you now know that अब बहुत कुछ है दिखाने के लिए ना. हॉबीज तो ऐसी चीज है, आप समझ ही नहीं आ रहा क्या लिखे नहीं लिखे, राइट? तो हॉबीज don't have to be really out of the box, right? So एक तो पता नहीं, there is this trend of going right wing everywhere. आपको mentors, teachers, they'll say go right wing, RSS, BJP या right wing वाली ideologies लिखो. क्यों? Because board उनका है, government उनकी है, तो उनकी ही ideologies लिखते हैं. ठीक है, एक टाइम पे probably कभी ऐसा होता होगा, but I can vouch from this year this is not happening, right? And one, you should not be lying. So if you don't do yoga, if you don't do Surya Namaskar, just to please the board so that they understand you as very conservative or somebody who abides by the religion, don't put just to impress the board. If you genuinely do Surya Namaskar, if you do genuinely yoga, put it out. But not to impress the board or government or the ideology. Or probably putting Gaushalas. Yeah, don't, it's not funny because I had a student who just wrote Gaushala. Visiting Gaushala, and he was very well prepared on that. But all they asked from him was on buffaloes. Yeah, that happened. Right? So, of course, he did visit Gaushalas also, no doubt about it. But he thought that he would probably get an extra edge of the ideology current times that we live in. No, it's not like that. Right? So this is one trend that you should avoid. Be very, very honest with whatever you write. Whatever you genuinely do, say that. Right? There is no shame in doing or admitting whatever you don't do. Okay? So out of the box hobbies you can actually avoid now. Genuinely what you do, please write it down. If you have an employment gap, of 5-6 years, you just can't say you've been preparing for civil services across years. So be very creative in putting up your NGOs, volunteering work, right? Put something to show that you were occupied other than UPSC also. So either you are very young, you're 22, 23, 24, then it's fine. They understand you have just came out of your college and you wanted to experiment with the exam. But if you're 27, 28, 29, 26, 30, and all you have been doing is preparing for this exam since 2018, then boss, you need to write something here to show that you have been also volunteering. Okay? You just cannot say, you cannot justify that 5-6 years of unemployment gap, because they expect you to contribute something to the economy as well, or society, because you are a grown individual. You are the workforce. You just can't say I've been preparing for an exam on my parents' money. No, that's not a very good justification. Okay, so use this section creatively to write good volunteering options. Also, if you were doing community volunteering, if you were teaching students, make this as your hobby. Why not? When I go back home, I listen to music every day, but I don't know if it's a hobby or not. But if I'm doing this repeatedly and I'm enjoying that, I should be writing that down. No, if I don't have anything significant to write, why do I skip this column? If I only listen to Bollywood music, or if I only listen to old classical song, I should specify the genre. Listening to old classical Hindi songs, listening to contemporary Bollywood music, it's a good hobby. And I do this every day while traveling back. But I don't know if I should be keeping it as a hobby or not. You should if you do not have significant other things to write. Why not? If you're reading fiction, non-fiction, specify the genre. Okay. What's the harm? Jogging, running, weight training, जिम तो सभी कर रहे हैं आजकल, सब लिख देते हैं. ठीक है. तो हॉबी में भी अगर आप जो जेन्युइनली कर रहे हो ऑन अ एवरीडे बेसिस, वो लिखना है. प्लीज करने के लिए कुछ नहीं लिखना है कि सरकार उनकी है, विचारधारा वो है, उन वैसे लोग हैं वैसे नंबर देंगे. सब फिजूल की बातें हैं. इंटरव्यू में भी ऐसे ही आंसर उनके वाले दो, सब में सेंटर टू राइट बोलो. नहीं, दे वांट अ ब्यूरोक्रेट विद अ स्पाइन. भाई आपको डिस्ट्रिक्ट देने वाले हैं. ठीक है, आप थोड़ा तो कंस्ट्रक्टिव क्रिटिसिज्म करोगे ना विद इन द गवर्नमेंट ऑल्सो. सरकार को तो आईना दिखाओगे ना. राइट, दैट्स इंपॉर्टेंट. Okay, so that's the major difference that you should be knowing. Okay, habit versus hobby. So habit is something, Mohan, you do for a routine. Every day you eat, every day I will sleep, I'll go home and eat food. That's a habit. Hobby is probably something I do for fun. I might not be doing it on a daily basis. Okay, Mohan, I hope this is clear. Hobbies like gaming, watching, yes, Gitansh, yes, of course. Playing cricket or watching cricket, or of course playing games. Specify the genre also. OTT if you like, please write OTT platforms also. But then expect a question. So if you're writing on cricket, expect to know why India lost the BGT series and what went wrong. And be very passionate about answering that. So now, of course, you don't have to remember the rules and cricketers and players and records and stats, but you should show the passion towards the sport. That yes, you know why India lost BGT series and why India can, and how India can come back. Right? Something on those lines. If you are watching, if you're watching on OTT on a daily basis, write that down. Write that down. But be prepared for the pros and cons of OTT. The regulations, right? And have an opinion on them. Of course, we can do that when you reach the interview stage, but the questions will come on these lines only, right? What if one is a part of organization working in scientific temperament against superstition, which allows left leaning? Should it be including? Yes, why not? There is no left right anymore. Please understand this. You are for constitution. Constitution is not right. Constitution is not left. Constitution is heart and soul of this country. It has no tilts, right? As bureaucrats, my first job is to maintain the spirit of Constitution. That's my first job as a bureaucrat. I need to maintain law and order, communal harmony. That's it. That's my core job. I am not a politician, right? I'm not a politician. I will abide by the Places of Worship Act. I will not demolish a structure. I'm not a politician that I'll get votes out of that. No. I'll ensure communal harmony around that region. Right? I'll ensure that law and order is maintained. That's my core responsibility as an SP and as a DM. Okay? So our responsibilities are very, very different. We are not politicians. We don't have to polarize people to get votes. That's their job. Let them do that. That should not be your business also. You are serving the country from behind the scenes. You are anonymous, but you remain a very, very important pillar of this country. And this is what you are signing up for. Indian Administrative Services, Indian Police Services. These are just not tags. It's serious responsibilities on ground. I am a doctor. I have worked as a COVID warrior. Way to put this, Mohan. If you were appreciated probably by your bosses in managing COVID better, you can write this down in 7A, Mohan. Sir, you speak only in English language. Don't you teach Hindi language people? नहीं विराज, ऐसा नहीं है. बिल्कुल हिंदी भी बोल सकते हैं, बट इंग्लिश थोड़ा सा एक्सेप्टेड होती है सबको, और एग्जाम भी आप प्रोबेबली इंग्लिश में ही लिखोगे. हिंदी के लिए ऑफ कोर्स हम बात कर सकते हैं बाद में, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. सर मैंने यूपीएससी का फॉर्म गलत भर दिया, अब सुधार कैसे करूं? अब तो फिर मैं वही तो समझा रहा था कि नहीं भरना था. कोई बात नहीं, अब भर दिया तो देख लेंगे इंटरव्यू तक आते आते. पहला प्रीलिम्स पे ध्यान दो. ठीक है, जिला कलेक्टर स्पैम मत करो. दैट्स इट, आई अंडरस्टूड, फाइन. आई एम सॉरी फॉर यू. आपको सुनना चाहिए था मेरे को, बट ठीक है, अब आपने भर दिया, कोई जनता ज्यादा टेंशन मत लो. प्रीलिम्स पे फोकस करो, मेंस क्लियर करो, फिर देख लेंगे. Sir, any kind of research papers will come under? Shivi, yes, research papers can come under. Probably if you have gotten an award on that, then 7A. If it's of course of national state importance. If it was in college, then 7C. If you led a team of probably that research team, if you led, then in 7C. So 7A, 7C में आप लिख सकते हो उसको. ठीक है? So this is what I have been emphasizing. Do not fill this form without us. Without consulting me and our credible mentors offline या online, but do have a discussion. वो फॉर्म सर्कुलेट इसलिए कर रहे हैं हम चैट बॉक्स में कि आप हमारे पास आओ, हम आपके साथ 1-to-1 बैठेंगे. We'll sit with you. हम नहीं चाहते आपका फॉर्म गलत फिल हो जाए, आपकी लाइफ बर्बाद हो जाए. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट डिसीजन है, और हम ये एक्सपेक्ट भी नहीं कर रहे थे कि यूपीएससी प्रीलिम्स के पास ही ले आएगा, बट यही है जो है. वी हैव टू डील विद दिस. 7 लाख स्टूडेंट्स आर एट स्टेक. फॉर्म गलत, सब कुछ गलत, राइट? तो ये चीज वी नीड टू मेंटेन. पहले तो 3000 बच्चे ही थे, वो थोड़ी बहुत गलती कर भी देते थे तो कोई बड़ी बात नहीं थी, बट 7 लाख बच्चे बहुत होते. इसीलिए हम ये इनिशिएटिव भी ले रहे हैं कि यू कम एंड विजिट अस ऑफलाइन, ऑनलाइन, फिल द फॉर्म. हम आपका फॉर्म भरवाएंगे. आवर क्रेडिबल मेंटर्स विल डू दैट, राइट? Yes, register link जो है वो वर्क नहीं कर रहा. Backend team, if you're listening to me, please share a link. Pin that in comment also. That works. आप fill कर दीजिए. Of course, we'll sit offline with you. But ये दो चीजें बहुत important है. ठीक है? So 7A, B, C, D is the core of your interview. ठीक है? And it also has ECA. So it's just not hobbies. हमारा सारा ध्यान 7D में goes to hobbies entirely. No, we also have extracurricular activity. Okay. सर मेरा सेंट्रल लेवल SC सर्टिफिकेट अभी 30 दिन आने में है. ठीक है, आई थिंक सर्टिफिकेट्स पे हम बात कर सकते हैं. सर्टिफिकेट्स वाला एलिमेंट, ठीक है, आपका वो जो रोल नंबर वाली क्वेरी है वो वाले एलिमेंट, और आपकी फोटो जो 10 दिन पुरानी है, ऑफ कोर्स वो आपको चाहिए ही चाहिए. तो आपको पिछले साल भी था. सर्टिफिकेट्स में आप देखो कि सेंट्रल लेवल के सर्टिफिकेट्स ही अप्रूव्ड हो हैं, वैलिड हैं. स्टेट लेवल पे आपका कास्ट नहीं लगेगा, सेंट्रल लेवल पे ही लगेगा. ठीक है, और उसकी डेट क्लियरली यूपीएससी ने मेंशन की हुई है नोटिफिकेशन में. इंश्योर करो वो उसी डेट के बीच में हो. अगर नहीं है उस डेट के बीच में और आगे आपका नहीं बन पाएगा तो आपको वही लगाना पड़ेगा. यू हैव नो अदर चॉइस, तो वही लगा दो. ठीक है. सर इज देयर एनी लिमिट ऑन हाउ मच हॉबीज वी शुड राइट इन 7D? अगर जेन्युइन हॉबीज है पर ज्यादा है तो लिखने में सही रहेगा, थोड़ा लिमिट रखें. देखो डिपेंड करता है 7ABC में भी क्या लिख रहे हो गीतांश. ठीक है, अगर 7ABC भी भरा भरा है तो सब में दो 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 रख सकते हो। 7B प्रोबेबली खाली चला गया पूरा, तो मैं 7D में चाहे 4 कर सकता हूं उसको कवर अप करने के लिए। ठीक है, तो माय फर्स्ट जॉब विल बी कि मैं सबको बैलेंस आउट करूं, 7A B C D को मैं थोड़ा थोड़ा बैलेंस आउट करता रहूं। मेरे पास अगर कुछ नहीं दिखाने को है, किसी एक सेक्शन में ही ज्यादा दिख रहा है मेरा, देन आई विल हैव टू पिक अप दैट रूट, आई डोंट हैव अ चॉइस, राइट? समझ गए? सर आई एम यूएपी स्टूडेंट, डू आई स्टिल नीड टू फिल दिस फॉर्म? yes madam, whether you are a UAP student, whether you are a Smash Main student, whether you are a foundation student, we will deal this separately. ठीक है, हम अलग मेंटर्स असाइन करेंगे प्रोबेबली आपको, या फिर आप ही के मेंटर्स को एक अलग शेड्यूल देंगे आपसे बात करने के लिए। बट इंटरनल स्टूडेंट्स को भी फॉर्म फिल करना पड़ेगा, प्लीज डू दैट, राइट? 1-to-1 बैठना हमारे लिए भी एक टास्क है, ऑफ कोर्स, वी नीड टू नो कि कितने ही जेन्युइन स्टूडेंट्स हैं, उस हिसाब से ही हम मेंटर्स का वर्कलोड इंक्रीज करेंगे ना, इसीलिए आपको फॉर्म फिल करना पड़ेगा। ठीक है, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। और बताइए 7ABCD में कोई डाउट्स, सर्विसेज में कोई डाउट्स? 95% यही है जहां बच्चे फंसेंगे, बाकी सब सेम ही है, ज्यादा घबराओ मत। बट ये चीज बदल नहीं पाओगे, बस इन्होंने इस बार इसमें कैडर नहीं डाला, दे डिडंट गिव यू द ऑप्शन टू फिल कैडर। अगर कैडर डाल देते तो आपका DAF2 यही बन जाता पूरे का पूरा एज इट इज। बट कैडर ऑल्सो दे हैव रिटन आफ्टर यू क्वालिफाई प्रीलिम्स यू विल हैव टू फिल दिस इन 10 days। तो इस बार ये मेंस के रिजल्ट तक कुछ छोड़ ही नहीं रहे हैं, ये आपको शुरू में ही प्रीलिम्स से पहले और प्रीलिम्स के बाद ही पूरा फॉर्म फिल करवा देंगे, ताकि आप एंड में कुछ दिमाग लगा के घपला मत कर सको। जो आप अभी हो वही आप अगले साल रहो। सो दैट्स वेरी सॉलिड स्टेप ऑन यूपीएससी's बिहाफ। बहुत जरूरत थी इस ट्रांसपेरेंसी की, बिकॉज सर्टेन एलिगेशंस वर बीइंग लेवल्ड अगेंस्ट देम, अ प्रेस्टिजियस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बॉडी लाइक यूपीएससी। So I am very happy that UPSC has brought such a reform. It brings in a lot of faith back that was probably lost due to some media reportings. People will again trust this institution, which they should, rightly should. सर क्लियर हो गया सब? ग्रेट गीतांश, हैप्पी, दैट्स वाई हमने सेशन भी रखा है, बिकॉज सुबह से हमने प्लान नहीं किया था इस सेशन के बारे में, बट वी थॉट कि नहीं, हमें आना चाहिए लाइव, पब्लिक की भी हेल्प हो जाएगी और हमारे इंटरनल स्टूडेंट्स की तो होगी ही। Also, sir, if someone had a district rank in 12th boards, can that come under 7A? शिवी, yes, CBSE, awarded by CBSE करके आप लिख सकते हो। ठीक है सर, आई हैव वन डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल डिबेट कंपटीशन, यस करेक्ट, लिख सकते हो आप, बिल्कुल लिख सकते हो। डिस्ट्रिक्ट बिल्कुल लिखना है, वो स्टेट के अंडर आ रहा है। ठीक है, स्कूल नहीं लिखना है इसमें। बस स्कूल में भी अगर आपको CBSE जैसी कोई बॉडी, MHRD जैसी कोई बॉडी अवार्ड कर रही है तो आप लिख सकते हो, नो वरीज। इसीलिए आपको हमारे साथ बैठना पड़ेगा इन्हीं छोटी छोटी चीजों के लिए। आप ये पर्सनलाइज नहीं कर सकते ना हम पब्लिक में, इसीलिए आई एम नॉट ऑल्सो टेकिंग कास्ट इश्यूज अभी, क्योंकि वो किसी की पर्सनल लाइफ, कास्ट, इनकम, इसमें मैं पब्लिकली क्यों जाऊं? आई वुड सिट विद दैट पर्सन इंडिविजुअली और ऑन कॉल और हेल्प कर दूं उसकी। बट दिस इज जनरल, ये चीज आपको पता होनी ही चाहिए, राइट? व्हाट अबाउट इंटर कॉलेज कॉम्पिटिशंस? राइट इट डाउन in if it's a sport, write it down in 7B that you played cricket at inter college level. कॉलेज भी देखो यूनिवर्सिटी का ही पार्ट है ना, स्टेट, डिस्ट्रिक्ट स्टेट का ही पार्ट है, राइट? नेशनल तो फिर नेशनल ही है, वो तो रखना ही है। ठीक है, स्कूल आप सिर्फ 7C में डाल सकते हो आइडियली, बट अगर 12th का कोई मेरिट स्कॉलरशिप है, CBSE ने दिया है, किसी मिनिस्ट्री ने दिया है, तो आप डाल सकते हो इसको अच्छे से फ्रेम करके 7A में। सर आई हैव वन 4th पोजीशन इन RBI क्विज। 4th पोजीशन कोई पोजीशन नहीं होती बाबा, इधर यू आर रनर अप, टॉप 3, 4th पोजीशन क्या पोजीशन होती है? सर इज देयर एनी वे अपना सेंट्रल सर्टिफिकेट बनाने में, और अगर नहीं बन रहा तो जल्दी में अपना स्टेट वाला लगा दूं? नहीं, स्टेट वाला मत लगाओ, सेंटर वाला ही लगाना पड़ेगा, स्टेट वाला तो रिजेक्ट हो जाएगा। इलेक्शन की वजह से SDM ऑफिस में काम नहीं हो रहा, तो तहसीलदार ऑफिस में हो रहा होगा, BDO ऑफिस में हो रहा होगा, आपको SDM ऑफिस ही क्यों जाना है? डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल युवा जन उत्सवा गॉट प्राइज इन फोक सॉन्ग, हाँ लिख सकते हो। या अगर फोक सॉन्ग आपकी हॉबी भी है तो उसको 7D में भी डाल सकते हो। आपको ना क्लेवरली सोचना पड़ेगा गाइस कि मैं किसको हॉबी में डाल सकता हूं, किसको मैं 7A में डालूं, किसको मैं 7B में डालूं. यू हैव टू बी वेरी वेरी इंटेलिजेंट अबाउट पुटिंग दीज वर्ड्स. मैं बता रहा हूं ना, पूरा इंटरव्यू हुई यही है. ये चीज मिस कर दी, ये थीम्स मिस कर दिया, गॉन, गेम खत्म. ठीक है. कैन वी एड KVPY सिलेक्शन? यस, करेक्ट, यू कैन एड KVPY. ठीक है. सर, इज इट नेसेसरी टू मेंटेन लेट बिफोर फादर नेम इन केस फादर इज डिसीज्ड? नहीं, वहां पे ऑप्शन आता है डिसीज्ड और अलाइव का, तो आई थिंक वो उससे कवर अप हो जाएगा. तो लेट आई थिंक या तो ऑटोमेटिकली सिस्टम पिकअप करेगा, और सिस्टम नहीं पिकअप कर रहा तो यू डोंट हैव टू राइट. ठीक है. 7ABCD में और डाउट्स बताओ, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट सेक्शन है. आई एम नॉट टेकिंग कास्ट सर्टिफिकेट्स डाउट, फिर तो मेरा सेशन कभी खत्म ही नहीं होगा आज. बट 7ABCD और सर्विसेज में कोई डाउट बताओ प्लीज. एंड आई एम एंजॉइंग दिस, सो डोंट वरी. बट आपको बताना पड़ेगा जेन्युइन डाउट्स अगर हैं तो. Yes, so if you're not able to find, we'll have to probably skip that, and so we'll creatively use 7D section for that. If it's from NHRC, what was the certificate about? Right. So if you're not able to put that down, you can mention and you can see if you have some email or some screenshot or probably some reference which you can attach as a certificate. That would also work. I think yes, but has to be very very credible. You'll have to go back to the concerned institution again, request them, ask them that I'm filling my UPSC form. So if it's a credible institution, school, college, university, signed by principal, real enough, you can use that in that case. Okay, so yeah, we can of course apply our brains. We can always ask UPSC also, because they have introduced this for the first time. They have a very credible supportive staff, so you can mail them, you can contact them on phone, you can visit their office in the Dholpur house. They'll help you out. Okay. College level medals shouldn't be there, right? कहाँ पे कॉलेज लेवल मेडल्स नहीं होने चाहिए? कॉलेज लेवल मेडल्स आप डाल सकते हो 7A में, क्यों नहीं डाल सकते? कॉलेज देखो बाबा, कॉलेज कम्स अंडर यूनिवर्सिटी, डिस्ट्रिक्ट कम्स अंडर स्टेट. इस चीज को क्लियर कर लो. ठीक है सर, अभी अच्छे से क्लैरिटी मिला है. ओके, ग्रेट, हैप्पी. यही आइडिया था कि आपको अच्छे से क्लैरिटी मिले. सर, इन द वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो, अगर सेंट्रल SC सर्टिफिकेट नहीं आ पाता तो मैं क्या करूं? वर्स्ट केस में फिर लगा दो स्टेट वाला ही. मैं क्या बोलूं इसमें. आप कोशिश करो, मिस्टर एंटरटेनमेंट जो भी आपका रियल नेम है, आप प्लीज ट्राई करो कि आप तहसीलदार, BDO, आप और जगह से भी बनवा सकते हो. SDM ऑफिस ही मैंडेटरी नहीं है. आई थिंक BDO के पास भी सिग्निफिकेंट पावर होती है टू इशू यू सर्टिफिकेट्स. आप ऐसे क्यों होप लूज कर रहे हो कि SDM ऑफिस में नहीं हो रहा कुछ तो मैं BDO में ट्राई नहीं करूंगा? जाओ, ट्राई करो, थोड़ा रिक्वेस्ट करो उन्हें. They'll of course understand your concern. स्टेट का लगा दोगे, बाद में रिजेक्ट हो जाओगे, फिर कहोगे सर आपने ही कहा था. तो वो सब मत करो. ठीक है. सर, इन केस माय मदर इज डिवोर्स, व्हाट टू डू? देखो, वो मैरिटल स्टेटस में भी पूछते हैं, तो वहां पे वो क्लियर हो जाता है. और अगर आपको लगता है कि आपके पास नेम एड्रेस नहीं है फादर का, तो आप NA भी लिख सकते हो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. इस साल भी एक स्टूडेंट हैं मतलब, जो ऑफ कोर्स बहुत टैलेंटेड हैं, और इनका इंटरव्यू 27 को है. उनका भी सेम केस है, उन्होंने NA लिखा हुआ है, कोई इशू नहीं है. ठीक है. सर, हॉबी में स्पिरिचुअल बुक्स पढ़ना अच्छा लगता है, ऐसा लिख सकते हैं? यस, व्हाई नॉट. रीडिंग लिख दो और स्पिरिचुअलिटी एज अ थीम लिख दो, या माइथोलॉजी लिख दो, फिक्शन, जो भी आप उस थीम में हो वो लिख सकते हो, कोई इशू नहीं है. सर, कैन आई अपलोड माई प्रोविजनल डिग्री सर्टिफिकेट? आई डोंट हैव माई डिग्री सर्टिफिकेट. यस मैम, यस यू कैन डू दैट. सर, इंटर्नशिप सर्टिफिकेट में सेल डाल सकते हैं? डाल सकते हो 7A में डाल सकते हो. ठीक है गाइज, वही 1-to-1 अब मैं चैट पे शुरू कर दूंगा तो फिर तो गेम ही खत्म हो जाएगी ना, फिर तो सारा रात यहीं कट जाएगी हम सबकी. तो हमें फॉर्म भरना है और हमें 1-to-1 बात करनी है मुझसे, हमारे क्रेडिबल मेंटर से, ऑफलाइन ऑनलाइन, और फिर हम आपको असिस्ट करते हैं ना 1-to-1, इसलिए तो बैठे हैं. सर, आई डोंट हैव एनी अचीवमेंट्स और मेडल्स, नो एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटी, कैन आई राइट माई हॉबी? It's okay to leave these achievement section blank. वही स्वाति, अगर आप बैठोगे मेंटर के साथ अपनी स्टोरी सुनाओगे तो हमें शायद मिल जाएगी आपके लाइक कुछ 7 AB में लिखने लायक चीज, लेकिन अगर नहीं है देन ऑब्वियसली गो हेड राइट इट डाउन ब्लैंक. सर कैन आई मेंशन टीचिंग असिस्टेंट एज अ लीडरशिप रोल डन इन 7C? आई थिंक वो एम्प्लॉयमेंट में भी जाएगा आपका, तो वो इतना कंसर्न नहीं है, तो उसको 7C में डालने की जगह आप एम्प्लॉयमेंट स्टेटस में भी डाल सकते हो. सर इन पर्सनल डिटेल डू वी फिल कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग एड्रेस और परमानेंट एड्रेस बिकॉज इट नॉट मेंशन्ड? कोई भी एक, दोनों साइड मेंशन्ड है, कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग के बगल में ही परमानेंट है शिखर, आप डाल सकते हो दोनों. ठीक है, तो दोनों डाल सकते हो. व्हाट टू डू, कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस का परमानेंट कर दो, परमानेंट का कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस कर दो, दोनों का तो ऑप्शन है वहां पे. ठीक है, आई होप शिखर इट्स क्लियर. नेक्स्ट, again as I said, आप ये फॉर्म फिल करो. बैकएंड टीम से आई रिक्वेस्ट टू जस्ट सर्कुलेट दिस फॉर्म इन द चैट एंड पिन इन द कमेंट्स, एंड प्लीज गाइस connect us offline, online also, and let us assist you 1-to-1. this is the aim. ऑनलाइन आपने हमारा चाहे यूएपी का स्टूडेंट है, चाहे स्मैश का है, चाहे फाउंडेशन का है, चाहे प्रीवियस है, यू विल हैव टू फिल द फॉर्म. एज आई सेड, इंटरनल स्टूडेंट्स को भी ये लिबर्टी नहीं है कि वो फॉर्म नहीं फिल करेंगे. दे विल हैव टू फिल द फॉर्म, दे कैन नॉट डायरेक्टली रीच देयर मेंटर आउट. Okay, you'll have to fill the form, you'll have to come through a centralized system, only then our mentors will be able to assist you. Okay, I know a lot of queries are coming, and I'm really happy that this session went as we thought, and I'm sorry I have a very limited bandwidth to take all your questions, but why not, let's connect 1-to-1 offline and online. Please clarify the language issue, speak only, read only, and what exam to mention. अरे तो इसमें क्या मैं क्लैरिफाई करूं, जो आप पढ़ते हो वो आप लिखो, जो आप बोलते हो वो आप लिखो. आप इंटरव्यू भी हिंदी में दे सकते हो, कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. अगर आप इंग्लिश में पेपर अटेम्प्ट कर सकते हो. सर अभी तक ईडब्ल्यू सर्टिफिकेट इशू नहीं हुआ तो पुराना लगा दो, नहीं तो कोशिश करो कि टाइम पे इशू हो जाए और ऑफिस पे जाके थोड़ा फाइट मारो. ठीक है, CD इज द बेस्ट. आई नो, ऑन दिस नोट आई एंड. दैट्स अ गुड कमेंट आई वांटेड. CD इज द बेस्ट. श्योर, थैंक्स अ लॉट. वी नो वी आर द बेस्ट. गाइस प्लीज फिल अप द फॉर्म and let us, including me and our very credible mentors offline and online, connect with you. Okay, sir, I'm a government employee, should I upload my documents regarding it? Bindu, yes, why not, you should be doing that, but it won't give you any advantage to clear UPSC. so ऐसा नहीं है कि आप SDM है कहीं पे तो आपको एकदम impress हो जाएंगे, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. ठीक है, चलो guys, it's 9 PM, we started probably at 7. It's been way too long, but I really wanted to give you a detailed analysis. Sir, I have a hobby of handwriting analysis. How should I write it? Again, talk to us. Let us rephrase this better for you. इसको rephrase करना ही पड़ेगा. handwriting analysis तो नहीं लिख सकते, कुछ creative writing के उसमें ले जाएंगे. ठीक है सर, ये BDO क्या है? अरे BDO नहीं पता आपको भाई, आप प्रीलिम्स दे रहे हो, आप BDO नहीं जानते हो? कम ऑन. ब्लॉक डेवलपमेंट ऑफिसर, कम ऑन. दिस इज नॉट एक्सपेक्टेड आउट ऑफ अ UPSC एस्पिरेंट. आपको देख के लग रहा है मैं इंटरव्यू देने जा रहा हूं. अरे ठीक है, चलो डन. थैंक यू स्टूडेंट, थैंक यू फॉर ज्वाइनिंग अस. प्लीज फिल द फॉर्म. लेट्स कनेक्ट ऑनलाइन एंड ऑफलाइन बोथ. हैव अ गुड नाइट अहेड. इट वाज अ प्लेजर इंटरेक्टिंग. टीम, वी कैन शट दिस ऑफ.